Discovery and disbelief. The exploration vessel Celestial Seeker drifted silently at the edge of what the Galactic Coalition had officially designated as the peripheral void, a region of space containing numerous planets deemed unsuitable for intelligent life development. Captain Vezuri Nilara, a veteran explorer with scales the color of distant nebulae, stood on the command deck, her 4 eyes scanning the detailed holomap before her. "Routine survey complete, Captain," reported Science Officer Jack Stolan, his tentacles dancing across the sensor controls. "Nothing unusual detected in sectors 7 through 12. Proceed to the final quadrant," ordered Nilara. "Let's finish this assignment quickly so we can return to more promising space." The Celestial Seeker had been tasked with a standard verification mission, confirming that the Coalition's centuries-old classifications of planets in this region remained accurate. It was bureaucratic busy work, the kind of mission assigned to crews who had fallen out of favor with Fleet Command. "Captain," called Communications Specialist Elevire, her crystalline form glittering under the bridge lights. "I'm detecting unusual energy signatures from XF-2991. Nilara frowned, her secondary eyelids blinking in surprise. XF-2991. That's impossible. It's classified as a Class 6 extreme environment planet. Nothing sentient could evolve there. The signatures match known patterns of technological communications, Captain. They're artificial in origin." The bridge fell silent. Nilara moved to Vire's station and studied the readings herself. "Perhaps an automated research probe from another Coalition vessel," suggested First Officer Krell. "No," Nilara said firmly. "These aren't our protocols, and no other known species has ventured this far into the peripheral void." She straightened. Decision made. Alter course. "We're investigating XF-2991. As the Celestial Seeker changed trajectory, Nilara accessed the historical records on XF-2991. The planet had been surveyed 73 cycles ago by the esteemed Exploratory Council, led by Grand Evaluator Zorn himself. The holographic record flickered to life, showing Zorn, a massive, 6-limbed scientist with the distinctive luminescent patterns of the Uloveri species, addressing the Coalition Assessment Committee. "XF-2991 is perhaps the most inhospitable world we've encountered capable of supporting any life at all," Zorn's recorded voice explained. "Its atmosphere contains dangerously high levels of reactive oxygen. Its gravitational field is 1.3 times Coalition standard, making sustained movement exhausting for most species. Most concerning, the planet experiences extreme temperature variations, devastating meteorological events, and constant tectonic instability." The recording showed images of violent storms, erupting volcanoes, and barren landscapes. "While we detected primitive single-celled organisms in the planet's extensive water bodies, the environmental conditions make the evolution of complex, intelligent life forms impossible. We recommend classification as a Class 6 extreme environment planet, suitable only for specialized scientific study with appropriate protective equipment." Nilara shut off the recording as the Celestial Seeker approached XF-2991. The blue-green world grew larger in the view screen, swirled with white cloud formations, and surrounded by a surprising number of small artificial satellites. "Magnify Quadrant 3, ordered Nilara, pointing to a continental landmass. The image zoomed in, revealing something that made several crew members gasp. Clear, geometric patterns of light, unmistakable signs of civilization, covered significant portions of the landmass. "That's impossible," whispered Science Officer Tholen. "According to all Coalition science, nothing should have evolved beyond primitive life forms on this world." "Scan for artificial structures," Nilara commanded. Within moments, the results confirmed what they could see. XF-2991 was covered with evidence of an advanced technological civilization. Roads, cities, industrial centers, and energy production facilities dotted the planet's surface. "How did we miss this?" asked First Officer Krell. The original survey was 73 cycles ago, Nilera replied. Perhaps they were primitive then, or perhaps, she hesitated, perhaps the original assessment was flawed. The latter possibility was nearly unthinkable. Grand Evaluator Zorn's classifications were considered foundational to modern coalition exploration protocols. I'm detecting communication signals everywhere, reported Fire. They're using primitive radio waves, electromagnetic transmissions, and some early forms of quantum communication. Can you interpret any of it? Asked Nilera. Working on it, Captain. Their language structures are unlike anything in our databases, but the universal translation matrices are adapting. As they orbited the planet, more surprises emerged. The inhabitants had already established a presence beyond their world. Primitive space stations orbited the planet, along with countless satellites. Captain, called Tholen urgently. One of their orbital structures has altered course. It appears to be approaching us. Defensive systems on standby, ordered Krell automatically. Belay that, countered Nilera. We're not here to provoke first contact. Specialist Fire broadcasts standard coalition greeting protocols on all frequencies. Captain, translation matrices have deciphered enough to establish basic communication, Vire reported. And they're hailing us. On screen, Nilera commanded, straightening her posture for this historic moment. The view screen flickered, and everyone on the bridge froze in astonishment. The being on the screen was Bictal, with pinkish-tan skin covering most of its body except for the head, which displayed a covering of dark fibers. It had only 2 eyes, a protruding nasal structure, and a single mouth. Most shockingly, it wore no environmental protection despite XF-2991's supposedly toxic atmosphere. Greetings, space vessel, the being said, its words now translated by the ship's systems. This is Commander Chen of the International Space Station Alpha. We welcome you to Earth. Earth. So that was what the natives called their supposedly uninhabitable world. I am Captain Vezeri Nilera of the Galactic Coalition vessel Celestial Seeker, Nilera responded, maintaining her composure despite her shock. We did not expect to find advanced life forms on this planet. The being, Commander Chen, displayed its teeth in what the translation system identified as a gesture of friendliness, not aggression. We've been sending signals to the stars for over 2 centuries, Chen replied. We were beginning to think we were alone in the galaxy. Nilera exchanged glances with her officers. 2 centuries of signals, and the coalition had never noticed. Had they been so convinced by the initial classification that they simply ignored evidence to the contrary? Commander Chen, we would like to learn more about your species and how you've adapted to your environmental challenges, Nilera said carefully. Of course, Chen responded. We'd be delighted to share our history with you. Perhaps you'd like to send representatives to our surface. We can arrange appropriate welcomes at any of our major governmental centers. Visit the surface. Nilera's scales rippled with apprehension. XF-2991. Earth was classified as requiring Class 4 environmental protection here, at minimum. Yet this being lived there without any visible protection. Thank you for the invitation, Nilera replied diplomatically. We'll need time to prepare for such a visit. Perhaps we could continue our exchange of information from orbit for now. Certainly, we're transmitting data packets about our civilization, biology, and history. We're eager to learn about yours as well. After concluding the initial communication, Nilera called an emergency staff meeting in the ship's conference room. The data they've sent is remarkable, reported Tholen. Displaying holographic representations of the planet's dominant species, humans, they called themselves. They evolved on this world despite all odds. They breathe the oxygen-rich atmosphere naturally. In fact, they require it. Their biology has adapted to the high gravity, and they've developed technologies to withstand the extreme weather patterns and geological instabilities. Could they be transplants? Suggested Krell. Perhaps another spacefaring race settled them there. Their genetic records indicate continuous evolution on that planet, countered Tholen. They are native to XF 2991, to Earth. Naylera paced the conference room, her mind racing. This discovery challenges everything the Coalition believes about planetary classification and the development of intelligent life. If these humans could evolve advanced intelligence on a Class 6 planet, what other assumptions have we made that might be incorrect? "What do we do now, Captain?" asked Vire. Naylera stopped pacing and faced her crew. "We proceed carefully. We learn everything we can about these humans. And then, I must report to the Coalition Council that one of our fundamental scientific classifications has just been proven utterly wrong." The gravity of the situation settled over the room. Their discovery wouldn't just rewrite scientific understanding. It would shake the very foundations of the Coalition's approach to galactic exploration. "Prepare a comprehensive report," Naylera ordered. "We need to understand how these humans not only survived but thrived in conditions we deemed impossible for intelligent life." As the crew dispersed to their duties, Naylera remained in the conference room, studying the images of human cities, their technologies, their art, their history of surviving on a planet that should have extinguished them long ago. "Remarkable," she whispered to herself. "Simply remarkable." Meeting humanity and reckoning. 3 weeks after the Celestial Seeker's initial discovery, a formal Coalition diplomatic vessel, the Harmonic Accord, took up orbit around Earth. The Coalition Council had been thrown into disarray by Captain Naylera's report, and after emergency sessions filled with heated debate, they had dispatched their most seasoned diplomatic team to make official first contact. Ambassador Threl Dorovan stood before the airlock, adjusting his environmental suit one final time. As a Ceti, his species was particularly vulnerable to oxygen toxicity, and despite assurances that the human delegation had adjusted their atmosphere to accommodate the Coalition representatives, he wasn't taking chances. "Ambassador, the preliminary readings indicate the environment beyond has been successfully modified to our specifications," reported his assistant, Miraleth. "The humans have gone to extraordinary lengths to accommodate our biological requirements." "Very well," Dorovan replied, his voice betraying his nervousness. "Let's proceed." The Coalition delegation consisted of 12 representatives from different member species, each chosen for their expertise in xenobiology, diplomacy, or cultural assessment. As the airlock cycled and the doors slid open, they were greeted by a contingent of humans dressed in formal attire. "Welcome to Earth," said a human female who stepped forward. "I am Secretary General Amara Okafor of the United Earth Coalition. On behalf of humanity, we are honored to be the newest species to make contact with galactic civilization." Dorovan performed the traditional Ceti greeting gesture. "I am Ambassador Threl Dorovan of the Galactic Coalition. We come in peace and with curiosity about your remarkable world and species." The initial meeting took place in a specially constructed facility in what the humans called Switzerland, a location chosen for its political neutrality. As the delegation was escorted to a conference room, Dorovan couldn't help but marvel at how the humans moved about with such ease and what his instruments told him was punishing gravity. "Before our formal discussions begin," said Secretary General Okafor, "we thought you might appreciate a brief presentation on human history and our development on Earth." What followed was a stunning visual journey through humanity's evolution, from primitive primates to tool users to builders of vast civilizations. The presentation showed humans adapting to every extreme environment their planet offered. Scorching deserts, freezing polar regions, oxygen-thin mountain heights, and crushing ocean depths. "Most remarkable," noted xenobiologist Vren Tor, "is that you've done this with no apparent genetic engineering. Your adaptability is unprecedented." "We've certainly faced our challenges," acknowledged Okafor. "Our history is marked by our struggle to overcome Earth's extremes. But these very struggles shaped us, forced us to innovate, to cooperate, to become more than we might have been on a more forgiving world." The diplomatic meetings extended into a week-long cultural exchange. With appropriate protective measures, the Coalition representatives were taken to various locations around the planet. each demonstrating a different aspect of how humans had mastered their supposedly uninhabitable world. In a research facility near an active volcano, Dr. Nisha Patel explained how humans had harnessed geothermal energy from Earth's unstable crust. What you see as a planetary danger, we've transformed into a resource, she explained while coalition members watched in amazement as humans worked comfortably in conditions that would have required heavy protective gear for most galactic species. At a deep-sea research station, the delegation observed humans studying life forms at crushing depths. Our bodies may be fragile, explained oceanographer Dr. Marcus Wong, but our minds and technologies allow us to explore and adapt to almost any environment. For many in the coalition delegation, the most profound experience came when they visited what humans called a hospital. Here, they witnessed how humans routinely repaired grievous injuries and fought off diseases that would have been fatal to most coalition species. Your biological resilience is extraordinary, admitted medical officer Jezatane after watching a surgery. Your ability to heal from trauma would be considered miraculous among my people. On the final evening before the coalition delegation was scheduled to depart, Ambassador Dorovan met privately with Secretary General Okafor in a garden facility designed to be comfortable for both species. I must confess, Dorovan said, slowly removing his breathing apparatus now that he had acclimated somewhat to Earth's atmosphere. When I first read Captain Nilura's report, I didn't believe it. In all coalition history, we have never encountered intelligent life that evolved on a Class 6 planet. Okafor smiled. Perhaps your classification system needs revision. Indeed, agreed Dorovan. But it's more than that. Your people have thrived here not despite the challenges, but because of them. It challenges our understanding of how intelligence develops. We have a saying, offered Okafor, necessity is the mother of invention. Each obstacle Earth placed before us forced us to become more innovative, more cooperative, more determined. What troubles me, admitted Dorovan, is how easily we dismissed your world. For 73 cycles, we cataloged Earth as uninhabitable by intelligence standards. We never looked back. We never questioned that assessment. A natural error, Okafor said graciously. You had no reason to expect beings like us. But we should have been looking, insisted Dorovan. The original survey detected your primitive ancestors. We should have monitored your development. Instead, we wrote your world off as a hostile curiosity. They watched as Earth's sun began to set, casting golden light across the garden. Ambassador, said Okafor gently, humanity has spent much of its history looking to the stars, wondering if we were alone. Now we know we're part of something larger. Rather than dwell on what might have been, let's focus on what comes next. Dorovan nodded thoughtfully. And what do you hope comes next? Secretary General. Partnership, she answered without hesitation. Humanity has much to learn from the coalition, but perhaps in our own way we have something to teach as well. The following day, as the coalition ship prepared to depart, Ambassador Dorovan delivered his final address to the human delegation. On behalf of the Galactic Coalition, I extend formal recognition to Earth and humanity as an emergent spacefaring civilization, he announced. Your achievement in developing advanced intelligence and technology in such challenging conditions represents one of the most remarkable evolutionary stories we have encountered. He paused, then added what wasn't in his prepared remarks. You have already taught us an important lesson. Never to underestimate the potential of life, no matter how hostile its cradle might seem. The Coalition looks forward to learning more from humanity and welcomes your perspective in our collective future. As the harmonic accord broke orbit and set course back to Coalition space, Dorovan stood in the observation deck, watching Earth recede into the distance, a blue-green jewel that had just appended generations of scientific certainty. Specialist Vire, he said to the communications officer who had been part of the original Discovery crew, prepare a priority transmission to the Coalition Council. Tell them that the classification protocols for evaluating planetary potential must be immediately reviewed and revised. And the official status of Earth, Ambassador? asked Vire. Dorovan thought for a moment, watching the planet that had been deemed uninhabitable, yet had produced one of the most adaptable, resilient species the Coalition had ever encountered. Classify it as a Class 1 exceptional development world, he decided, and add a special notation: home to humanity, masters of the impossible. As Earth disappeared from view, Dorovan couldn't shake the feeling that the galaxy had just become a much more interesting place. The humans, born of adversity and tempered by challenges that would have broken other species, were now taking their place among the stars. The Coalition would never be the same again.